Think about the last time you felt genuinely calm, truly at ease. The kind of relaxed where your shoulders drop and your mind goes quiet. Chances are you were outside, or near a window, or in a room filled with plants, wood, and natural light. That feeling isn't an accident. There's a reason nature makes us feel that way. And there's an entire design philosophy built around bringing that feeling into your home. It's called biophilic design, and in this video, I'm going to explain exactly what it is, why it works, and most importantly, how you can start using it in your own home, whether you rent or own, whether you have a budget or don't. This is the beginner's guide to biophilic design. Let's start from the very beginning. The word biophilic design. It sounds complicated, but break it down and it becomes very simple. Biophilia comes from the Greek, bio meaning life and philia meaning love. It literally means a love of living things. The term was popularized by the biologist Edward O. Wilson in 1984, when he proposed something that might seem obvious but was actually quite radical at the time, that human beings have an innate biological need to connect with nature. Not just a preference, a need. Biophilic design takes that idea and applies it to the spaces we live and work in. It's the practice of designing homes and buildings that actively incorporate natural elements in order to support human health and well-being. Now you might be thinking, isn't that just having some houseplants? Not quite. Biophilic design is much broader than that. It covers natural light, materials like wood and stone, water features, views of the outdoors, natural patterns and shapes, the sounds, textures, and even scents of the natural world. It's a whole philosophy, and when done well, it transforms how a space feels to be in. Here's something that might surprise you. The benefits of biophilic design aren't just aesthetic, they're measurable. Researchers have been studying our relationship with nature for decades now, and the findings are remarkably consistent. Stress and cortisol. A landmark study found that simply having a view of trees outside a hospital window reduced patients' recovery time and need for pain medication. The natural view alone was enough to change physiological outcomes, productivity, and focus. Studies of office environments found that workers in spaces with plants and natural light reported up to 15% higher levels of well-being and performed significantly better on cognitive tasks. The same logic applies to how we feel at home. Sleep quality. Our bodies are designed to respond to natural light cycles, the movement from warm morning light to cooler midday light to the warm amber tones of sunset. Homes that reflect these natural rhythms through light and color tend to support better, deeper sleep. Mental health. Research published in the Journal of Environmental Psychology found that exposure to natural elements, even photographs of nature, reduced feelings of anxiety and improved mood. Our nervous systems, quite literally, respond to the presence of nature. This is why biophilic design isn't just a trend. It's a response to something deeply embedded in how we're wired as human beings. And the good news, you don't need an architect or a major renovation to start feeling these benefits. You just need to know the 5 core principles. Biophilic design can be broken down into 5 fundamental principles. Think of these as your toolkit, the 5 levers you can pull to make any space feel more connected to nature. Principle 1. Natural light is arguably the most powerful biophilic element you can work with. Natural light changes throughout the day. It's warmer and lower in the morning, brighter and cooler at midday, and returns to warm amber tones in the evening. These shifts signal to our bodies when to be alert, when to wind down, and when to sleep. Biophilic design maximizes natural light wherever possible. This means keeping windowsills clear, using sheer curtains rather than heavy blackout blinds in living spaces, placing mirrors opposite windows to bounce light deeper into a room, choosing lighter, reflective surfaces, pale wood, off-white walls, linen textures that allow light to travel. In spaces where natural light is limited, warm-toned bulbs that mimic the color temperature of daylight are your best friend. Principle 2. Living plants and greenery. Plants are the most immediate way to bring biophilic design into your home. But it's not just about aesthetics. Plants actively improve air quality, increase humidity, and have measurable calming effects on the nervous system. You don't need a jungle. Even a single large plant in a room, a monstera, a fiddle leaf fig, a rubber plant, creates a significant shift in how the space feels. The key is placement. Near windows, where they get the light they need, and create a visual connection between indoors and outdoors. If you don't have a green thumb, moss walls and dried botanicals still carry biophilic benefits. Preserved natural materials retain the visual cues our brains respond to, even without active growth. Principle 3. Natural materials. One of the most overlooked biophilic principles is material. The textures, colors, and materials in your home send constant signals to your nervous system, and synthetic materials simply don't have the same calming effect as natural ones. Wood is the most versatile natural material in interior design. Whether it's a hardwood floor, a timber shelving unit, or a reclaimed wood coffee table, wood brings warmth, variation, and organic texture that no laminate can replicate. Stone, marble, slate, terracotta brings a grounding, earthy quality. Linen, cotton, wool, and jute provide softness and tactile connection. Even the humble terracotta pot on a windowsill is a biophilic element. As you introduce natural materials, think about layering different textures. Smooth stone against a rough linen, polished wood against matte clay. Variation in texture is itself a biophilic cue. It mirrors the complexity and richness of the natural world. Principle 4. Natural patterns and shapes. Nature doesn't do straight lines. It does curves, spirals, fractals, and organic asymmetry. Biophilic design incorporates these shapes into interiors, and our brains recognize and respond to them positively. This shows up in arched doorways and curved furniture, in leaf-patterned textiles and botanical prints, in the spiral of a rattan lampshade or the branching pattern of a dried flower arrangement. Even the dappled shadow a plant casts on a wall is a biophilic pattern. You can also introduce fractal-like patterns through textured wallpapers, woven wall hangings, or the natural grain of a wooden surface. The goal isn't to perfectly replicate nature. It's to create an environment that resonates with the visual language our brains evolved to respond to. Principle 5. Views and connection to the outdoors. The final principle is about orientation, the relationship between your interior space and the world outside. Where possible, biophilic design maximizes views of nature. Placing a reading chair near a window overlooking a garden, trees, or even a quiet street with greenery creates what designers call a refuge prospect dynamic, a sense of being sheltered while still connected to a wider world. In urban homes with limited views, you can create the suggestion of an outdoor connection through strategic use of mirrors, reflecting any visible greenery, large botanical artwork, or a window box of plants that frames the view you do have. Even the sounds and scents of nature count. A white noise machine with rain sounds, essential oils diffused with cedar wood or eucalyptus, or the gentle sound of a small indoor water feature, all activate the same biophilic response. Now you know the 5 principles, let's talk about how to actually start. Because one of the most common misconceptions about biophilic design is that it requires a renovation, a big budget, or a particular style of home. It doesn't. These principles work in a Victorian terrace, a modern flat, a rented bedsit, or a large family home. The scale changes. The fundamentals don't. Start with light. Clear your windowsills. Swap heavy curtains for sheer linen panels in any room where you want to encourage natural light. This costs nothing, and it's the single highest impact change you can make to how a room feels. Add 1 plant, not 10. 1. Choose a species appropriate to the light levels in your space. A pothos or snake plant for lower light rooms. A rubber plant or monstera near a south-facing window. Place it where you spend the most time. Introduce 1 natural material, a jute rug, a wooden chopping board displayed on the kitchen counter, a terracotta vase, a linen cushion. These are inexpensive, accessible, and they start to shift the material language of your space in the right direction. Change your lighting in the evening. If you have ceiling lights, switch to a warm lamp or 2 in the evenings. Warm, low light mimics sunset and begins your body's natural wind-down process. This is one of the easiest and most impactful biophilic changes you can make for sleep. And finally, don't feel like you have to do this all at once. Biophilic design is a gradual shift, a way of thinking about your home differently over time. Every natural element you add is a step in the right direction. The goal isn't a perfect interior. It's a home that genuinely feels good to be in. Biophilic design, at its core, is a very simple idea. Your home should feel like a place where you can genuinely rest, restore, and breathe. We've spent so long optimizing our homes for how they look, and not nearly enough time thinking about how they feel. Biophilic design reorients that. It says, the right materials, the right light, the right connection to nature, these things aren't luxuries. They're the foundations of a healthy, calm, restorative home. Over the coming weeks, we're going to go deep into each of these principles. Next up, I'm going to show you 5 specific biophilic touches you can add to any room this weekend, including some that cost nothing at all. If this video was useful, please subscribe. We are building a resource here for anyone who wants to create a home that genuinely supports their well-being. And if you have any questions about biophilic design, drop them in the comments below. I'll see you in the next one.